Hey, unstuckers, Josh here, as joined every week by my co-host and bouncy co-host at that, Cel. Say what's up, Cel.
Hey, Unstuckers, how are you?
And grand.
Are you an Unstucker? Cool, cool, cool.
Yeah, I am. Are you an unstucker?
Of course.
Okay then. And how are you?
I'm excellent. Thank you for
Okay,
asking.
we're grand and we're excellent. Good. Coming in hot today.
Oh, God.
Welcome to Casual Fridays, where we take a moment to have a mini mastermind, problem solve, set goals, and keep the ball rolling on our own businesses. This week on the podcast, Cel and I talk all about networking groups, and if you've never tried it for fear of networking, you should listen to that because we're going to tell you to try it. Spoiler alert! So if you missed that episode, go back and check it out. Came out on Wednesday. But today we're here for Casual Fridays. So, Cel, let's talk about goals. Of course, if you didn't do your goals, I'm going to donate $50 of your money to the NRA. And if I didn't do my goals, you're going to donate $50 of my money to the American Nazi Party. So, Cel, drum roll, please. Did you do your goals?
Fuck yeah, I did.
Ah, so
Yeah,
excited to donate to the NRA on your behalf.
yeah, no. So it was Refine My Quiz. Did that and posted it. I'll give you guys more of an update on that. Book 3 podcasts. Did that. Book
Check.
3 lives on Instagram and Facebook. Did that.
Check.
Figure out the value for Winging It Wednesday, which is flavor discovery. Did that and did a Winging It Wednesday on Wednesday this week.
Oh, shit.
Pitch my blog for March. Did that to a publication in Utah. It's all online. And then I also did it to Food 52 because why not? Aim high, right?
Yeah.
Brainstorm goals for my Facebook group. I have some ideas. I would love some feedback. And completed market research. I reached out to 20 plus people and no, 20 people, maybe less. I think I reached out to like 15 and I got 8 to hop on a phone call with me for market research.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
yeah, completed and exceeded some of them. Pen drop.
Pen drop. Excellent. Excellent. You will also be happy to know you are not donating my money to the American Nazi Party.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, because I did. I had my biggest goal was to make kind of a roadmap of. Wow, that was quite a slurp.
A roadmap, yes.
Whew, all right, and cut that out of the podcast. But for YouTube, you're welcome. So my goal was to make a roadmap, right, for all the all the ins and outs of things I've been learning about music production. It was just jumbled in my head. So I made that. It was overwhelming to sit down and do. So I'm glad I made it my goal, but it only took me like half an hour when I
Oh,
actually
cool.
did it.
Yeah.
So it was perfect to make it my goal for last week because I wouldn't have done it. I just that seems overwhelming, like a lot to handle, and it was quick. So I figured out basically there are four sets of, well, I'll go into it later. How about that? I'll just go into it later. So I did
Okay,
that
cool.
roadmap check, and then I was also going to do the co-write um, on. I had a song that me and my co-writer were kind of both being like, I'm busy, I'll get to it later. So I checked in with her. We're going to meet this Saturday, tomorrow, and that lit a fire under both our asses to get our homework done before our meeting. So um,
Nice.
between this check-in and our meeting on Saturday, I had two reasons to get that done and did that. So, and my homework was just like write a few more verses and come up with any notes on what we had already written. Not a ton, but something I've been putting off for a few weeks. So both of them, thanks to money being on the line, done this week.
Such a motivator. It's great.
I know. This check-in, man, it keeps the ball rolling for sure. All right. So we'll start with you this week, Cel. 10 minutes on the clock. Tell us about your week, your questions, your hopes, your dreams, etc.
Look at this organization this week. It doesn't look like a fucking shit show. It's great, guys.
Oh man.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. For those of you listening to the audio, that is Last week was a serial killer of a like two-sided sheet with just notes and conspiracy theories and red lines drawn. And this week is a very linear notebook. It's even in a
It's in a
notebook.
notebook and not on a sketchy ass piece of paper. Yes. So, updates for the week. When I was on 4 podcasts for Wellness Cucina and
Woohoo!
promoting my business. So that's
Business.
fucking cool. One of them
Nice.
was at like 3 in the morning my time. Another one was at 5 in the morning my time. So don't recommend
Ouch.
doing it in the middle of the morning / night, but
Yeah. Yeah.
good shit. It's all good shit. Um, so I booked not only 3 podcasts, but 5 plus for the upcoming weeks. So that's super cool. 5 plus IG collaborations, and that was only 3 on my list. So, guys, those are all coming from Clubhouse. So if I haven't honed in enough and you have an iPhone or some type of Mac product, get the fuck on Clubhouse, like ASAP. It is awesome for networking, collaborations, and having your voice heard, literally. Winging It Wednesday. So my thing to provide value for that was flavor and like really honing in on flavors. This week I did like a breakfast themed thing, and like that was cool. But I think I'm going to be a little bit more winging it than that because I had like a plan for that this past
You
one. So
planning your winging it
I
Wednesdays.
planned my winging it a little bit. So next week I'm really going to wing it. Just make sure I have some food on hand, hopefully, and I'm not just using frozen pizza to wing it. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
I want to tune in on the Winging It Wednesday when you're like, okay, let's see what I have. Oh, I really need to go to the grocery store.
Dude, that's probably going to happen at some point. It's going to be hilarious.
Like, well, what can I make here?
Okay, so Pitch March blog. So that was the blog post that I wrote for the other blog that I'm writing for, and they didn't want it. She's like, rethink this whole thing. I was like, cool, cool, cool. I can do that, but I can also sell this one. So I pitched that to 2 places, got over that fear. Like you were saying, Josh, like that was like if I didn't have that as a goal this week, I don't think I would have done it because it was just scary, you know? So put some money behind it, guys. Put your money where your mouth is. That's what the kids say.
Yeah.
Okay, Facebook groups. So I think my goals for my Facebook group are exclusive videos. And that would be like, I don't know, like really intense kitchen hacks. Not intense, but like kitchen hacks that I wouldn't share on Instagram, for example. So I think that's going to be kind of the draw to that. And then maybe like exclusive offers where I have an expert come in and speak on something. Right now I'm doing that on the Instagram platform, but I think I need to shift that more to my Facebook group as I start to gain more followers there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then promoting my group in other groups. I don't know how many groups are cool with that. So that might be something to look at. But that's like in my research this week, that's kind of what I found to be kind of important. So we shall see. I would love your input on that momentarily. And then market research. So I screen recorded every video that I did, or every video chat that I had for market research,
Right.
so that I can go back and like look at those videos, which I think was really smart because I was more involved in the conversation rather than like trying to type or write really quick. So if you guys are doing market research and it happens to be on like a Zoom call or a Google Meet call, highly recommend screen recording it, and that's totally free if you have a Mac because Macs are awesome. So yeah, that was really cool. Oh, okay. Another update on Instagram. I was 10 followers away from 1,000 yesterday. No, six followers away from 1,000 yesterday. I was at 994, and then I went through my list and I deleted like 100 people because they weren't my target audience, or they were just like adding to it or whatever. So I'm back in like the 890s maybe, or 860s, and I'm okay with it. 1,000's just a number, and I would much rather have people following me who actually want to see my content than just randos out there, you know? So that was cathartic.
That's good. That's good calling for the algorithms from what I hear. So
Yeah.
good job. Good job.
So if you guys need to go out and clean the schmutz out of your Instagram, highly recommend. Also on my list, it wasn't like on my list, but my business coach said it was on my list to do a podcast 1-pager that I could just like send out to people. So I did that. And then I actually sent out 1 referral partner sheet, which leads me into my question for you guys. Is it worth dividing so much of my time on so many different platforms to market in so many different ways. So like I have a referral email, or rather I have a practitioner email list that I send quick tips to every week. I've done it 3 weeks in a row now, and I know that that's still new, but I've had like 2 to 4 opens on average, and that's it. And it's the same people opening it every time. I've had one person ask for the referral document, and like that I don't think is going to be fruitful. I don't know, but like, is it worthwhile to continue to pursue that and think of a quick tip to give them every week that they can share with a client, even if they're not opening it? Like, you know what I mean? So I would love some insight there.
Are you in control of the email list that you're sending there?
Yeah.
Oh, that's yours.
Yeah, it's mine.
How big is your list?
The practitioner list is only 10, but I have like 100 plus people on my contacts list. And I went through that too, like fairly recently.
I mean, I think it's too early to tell.
Okay.
But I think your overall question being, should you focus more or not? I think from what I've heard about these sorts of things is, as much as you can, focus on one until you master it.
Yeah.
And you master it to a point where it doesn't take you very long, or you can outsource it a little bit so that it doesn't take you a little long, and then go and master the next thing, you know? And I think the only difference is like, this is kind of your whole job. You're a marketer right now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So, 40 hours a week or whatever of just focusing on the email inbox is not realistic and probably not fruitful, right? But
Yeah.
so you probably have the time to focus on 3 things at the same time, but I would just figure out what that threshold is for you. Is it 2 things? Is it 3 things? Is it 5 things? But it's not 10 things, right? Or it's not 5 things. That's where you know that, like, I'm not doing the best I can on like my main thing, which is Instagram, because I'm looking at Clubhouse and email and this and that. So I need to shave it down to whatever. What are my main 2, my main 3?
Yeah.
Right? And those numbers are arbitrary, obviously, but that's what I'd recommend for you is like, what's your bread and butter? What do you enjoy, right, the most?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's going to help you make it your bread and butter.
Totally.
Um, and then, and then anything else, just put it on like a to-do list for the future.
Yeah.
When I have time, I would love to explore the crap out of this next thing.
Yeah. I think that's a good perspective to have. I am a marketer at this point. So, I mean, doing all of the things is kind of annoying and overwhelming, but you're right. I do have the time. That's literally all I'm doing right now. So I think I just have to reframe that mentality. Where was I going with that? Excellent question, Cel. Excellent question. Oh, okay. So repurposing content then. So like you said, my main platform is Instagram. Do you know how to download Instagram IGTV videos? I've tried a million different ways. I've tried like different apps on the webs, like on different websites, and it like downloads it, but then it just kind of like gets stuck in my browser. So if you know how to do that, let me know. It like says download the MP4, and I do, and then it just like opens up a separate web page, and I can't like download it like you would a PDF. So I'm not really sure what happens there, but if anyone listening knows how to do that, please contact me at cbrunettywellness@gmail.com. I would really appreciate it to figure out how the fuck to download an IGTV video.
There
So
you go.
let me know.
Speaking of repurposing, too, you said you made those screen recordings of your interviews.
Yeah.
That's content gold, right?
Is it?
like you're being interviewed. Share the shit out of that.
Oh, I understand what you're saying. Of
Yeah.
of like my podcast or of my market research.
Wait, you said you screen shared your interviews,
My
right?
market research interviews. So I was interviewing other people. I was asking them questions.
Oh.
Yeah.
I misunderstood. Okay.
Yeah.
I jumbled that in my head to, I remember that now, but I jumbled that in my head to you screen recorded when you were being interviewed on other people's podcasts.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
No,
so never mind. Yeah,
but
you probably don't want to share your market research interviews with other people.
no, but I did. Okay, so with all of those podcasts, I did meet two really cool ladies. This podcast is coming out today, Friday, I think, and it's called "It's Been a Long Night" or "It's Been a Long Day" podcast, which is very apropos because that's the one that I recorded at 3 a.m.
Been a very long day.
But they like actually took my advice, and the next day they were like, "Oh my god, I cooked a meal in 30 minutes. This was awesome." So I used that as the testimonial on my Instagram. I like screen recorded the like message, like the voicemail she sent me, and then I just like stuck a picture on it, and I was like, "Create
Perfect.
Instagram story." Pooh, done. So things like that, guys, like even if you're like not actually actively working with people at the moment and people just like say good things, use that shit. Fuck yeah.
Yeah,
Fuck
yeah.
yeah.
I think that's the mindset I was getting to. It's just everything you do, think about, can I use this a different way than what is currently being used for?
Yeah.
Right. Um, and yeah, great.
All right, guys.
Cool. Well, that
Wait,
was your timer. Anything
quick.
else you gotta jump
Yeah,
into?
for YouTube, the lucky people get to see my dog playing with her bear, and now she's walking away. You saw her butt. Cool, cool. That's
I
it.
saw a dog butt. It was very, very black dog butt.
Could be any dog, really.
Could be any dog. It was not my dog though. My dog's tail is way hairier than that.
I thought you were gonna say way longer. So many people have
Way
asked if we
more
cut her
fluff.
tail, and like we haven't. She just has a very stubby tail.
Mm.
All right.
A little
Anyway,
stub.
uh, Josh, let's get to you.
Okay. All right. Let's do it.
Thank you for your help. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Oh, wait. Before we get to me, I had one more thing I wrote down
Oh yeah, totes.
because I knew we would forget to get back to it, so I started taking notes. You said about posting groups into other groups,
Oh yeah,
and just check with the group rules because
yeah,
some groups are totally cool with that, and some groups are not. Um, And I feel like, in my opinion, if they don't post not to do that, then they're cool with it until otherwise determined, right?
yeah,
So I would just look at group rules, the top, whatever scroll of posts, and see if you see anything that mentions like don't do that kind of crap.
yeah.
And then if not, do it. And the worst that can happen is they can delete your post. So
Fair. Totes fair. Totes fair. Yeah, I was
but be
also considering.
respectful. If they communicate, you can say, okay, this is not the group for me to advertise in.
Yeah, I was also
Um,
considering putting my quiz in there, which is also done really well. So
mhm.
highly
Yeah,
recommend
I think the
doing
quiz is
quizzes.
great.
Yeah,
I think the quiz is great for groups because it's less like pitchy and more like here's a fun activity.
exactly.
Um, cool. Okay, ready for me?
Yeah.
Here we go. All right, so roadmap that I was talking about. I um I figured out there's four main parts. And this might seem obvious if you know anything about recording or even if you don't, but it's just one of those things that I was learning a lot of information at a fire hose pace, and my brain really likes a linear workflow. And so until I actively identified what now seems obvious to me, um, I I felt lost, right? So there's four parts. There's the actual recording, there's the editing, and then there's the mixing, and then there's the mastering. Um, and that might seem like obvious, but what's nice about identifying that for me is that what I've been doing is like recording, and I like record some guitar, and then I start editing it right away and trying to make it sound better before I like record the next thing. And so I
Okay.
go through all four of those stages back and forth way too
Yeah.
much, and some of them like are over like mastering like an overview thing. So if you're like mastering a not finished product, it's not helpful, which is an
Yeah.
obvious statement for recording. But like in general, going up and down these four steps willy nilly has been what has felt really overwhelming to me. And so now that I'm like, okay, next time I record like a new song, I'm very consciously going to try and record everything as cleanly and nicely as I can. And once I'm like, I've recorded everything, I have all the recordings I need, we're going to put the mic away. And then we're just going to be on editing.
Yeah.
Like, make things fit in time, uh, pitch correction if needed on vocals, things like that. And then once we're done with that, we will start mixing levels and volumes and all these things, um, but not during the editing, right? And so I think that's going to end up saving me a lot of time once I get used to this workflow. Um, but it was super helpful to just be like, here are the big chunks. And then um, in recording and in editing, which are the modules I've been completely through in my course, I um, made like to-do lists and a cheat sheet of like best practices for each section. So, whoop, hit the mic. So, that's what you get for talking with your hands. And so, um, so at least for the two sections I've been through completely, I now kind of have a do this, don't forget about this, always do this before you start kind of cheat sheet. Um, so that's great. I feel great about that. It means that now I'm ready to dive into, as far as learning, dive into the mixing section, the third section,
Cool.
and I can start making the cheat sheet as I go, which will be better and feel way more organized in my somewhat linear brain. Um, so there's that. I also continued building the plane while taking off last week, as I mentioned with the SEO stuff and the signing a song stuff. So like I found a song agreement with another licensing company and just like copy pasted and then changed that around to be my
Quality.
licensing agreement. Um, and there's a lot of legalese. So I'm like having my assistant right now look it over. Do you see anything I missed? And then I'm like, I'm gonna send it to a lawyer for review. Just it's worth an hour of my
Cover your
time to have a
ass.
document that's totally everything
Yeah.
you need. Um, it's one of those things where just hire the professional, get an hour of the professional's opinion. It's always worth it.
Yeah.
So, um, so working on that still, and that's going well. And then SEO. So on SEO, I had, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, but I think where we left off last podcast, I was like actively looking at people to do SEO for me, right?
You weren't actively looking, you were considering looking.
Mm, yeah, so it was like a brand new idea.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep straight when we chat offline and on. But so yeah, I started looking for. Um, I did the SEO for the first website of the person who contacted me first. Then the second website, I was like, oh, I bet I could get someone else to do this better than me and maybe even cheaper. Because I was listening to a podcast where this guy built his website making empire basically on Upwork
Yeah.
and like hired out contractors to just do some of the work so that he and his quote unquote team could keep up. And so I was like, that's brilliant. So that's where we are. And so I started looking at Upwork and I posted the job for the second client and they, I got a lot of responses, some who cannot speak English very well. And I'm like, sorry, for SEO purposes, I need the English to be pretty decent when you type anything,
Yeah.
um, and some who are like clearly like they've got a team, like they'll charge a little more, but they're like a whole team in and of themselves on
Wow.
Upwork, and like an SEO company, um, and seem very professional. And then they asked me a lot of questions, which was awesome because I used that to learn, like, oh,
Yeah.
these are questions I should be asking or know about, and so that turned into that client's website was not in a position that it was ready for SEO. And I designed it for them like a year ago, but it was, it needs to pivot. It was doing one thing, it was like a business to customer website, a retail website.
Hmm.
And now they're pivoting. I mean, it's always been a main thrust of their business, but the website doesn't show this at all. They're pivoting the website to be business to business. Like,
Oh, wow.
do you have an idea for manufacturing whatever? We'll make that for you, and then you can retail sell it. So
Cool.
so I said that to them as I realized, I was like, that's not what you guys do, right? And they were like, yeah, we're not really doing that retail thing anymore, so we're just doing this. And I'm like, cool, your website does not say that to people who look at your
Yeah.
website, and um it's a pretty simple website that I built for them, but I was like, we need to first spend some time rearranging this. And then once the website actually says what you want your customer to hear, then we'll talk about SEO. Because right now, if I SEO the crap out of the retail thing you were selling, that's just throwing away money
Yeah.
because you don't want that. And so we backtracked a little bit. But in the meantime, I told some people on Upwork that I was talking to, like, well, pausing with the client right now, redesigning some things. We'll get back to you probably next week. Um, in the meantime, I found one or two I wanted to try. I've learned there's on-site SEO and off-site SEO. And on-site means everything you can do on the physical website.
Hmm.
Off-site means everything you can do out in the internet to point to the website to make the website seem extra legitimate, right?
Sick.
That off-site stuff is most of what goes on in ongoing SEO. When
Yeah.
people are like, "Oh, I do SEO every month and it's blah 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 and it's magic and I don't know what they do." That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
And then on-site's basically the initial setup. And so I had one of these contractors who seemed legit at doing on-site only, but they did on-site
Hmm.
on Wix. I had them do the 505 Songworks SEO. I was just like, here, try my website. I'll check your work,
Yeah.
and it won't be risking a client relationship or anything. Um, and they did it in like 2 hours and charged me like nothing for it. What took me like 3 to 4 hours to do for one client last week, they
Yeah.
did in like 2 hours, and it was like well worth the money
Hell yeah.
to me, Um, so, and I checked their work. There was like one kind of English funky sentence. So I was like, cool, I got to build in like part of this is I need to double check some of the work, but double checking the work took me 30 minutes, 20
Yeah.
minutes, something like that. So I'm like, cool. So this is how much they cost me. This is how much time I have to take with initial communication and double checking their work,
Yeah.
and bam. So that went exceedingly smoothly and exceedingly cheaply. And so I went ahead and I hired that same person again and said, cool, go do the JBit website. So they're working on the JBit website
Hell yeah.
right now. Actually, I got a message right before we recorded. They were like, got in, we're good. So, and what the beauty with Wix is that I can assign them certain roles and permissions, so
Yeah.
they don't have complete control over everything on my website. They couldn't be like a malicious contractor who could really screw me over. It's
Yeah.
like, no, they only have permission to do certain things. I know what those things are, so I'll double check them and we're good.
That's awesome.
Um, yeah, so she's doing that for me now on JBit, which is sweet. And and if that continues to go well, I'll have her do the on-site version of the client's website next week once I'm done with the redesign. And then I'll have one of these other companies do the ongoing offsite stuff. And it really seems like all told, um, there we go. Just to wrap up, it seems like all told, I can be charged by contractors $200 to $300 a month, maybe even $400 a month. And going rate, I've asked around in Albuquerque anyway on people who do SEO is like 700 to 1,000. So I'm
Yeah.
like, sweet. So this could be a beautiful new ongoing thing because I do have a lot of clients I've built Wix websites for, and if I just specialize in like, hey, I'm the Wix website guy and I can outsource some of that because I'm running out of time personally to be able to do things
Yeah.
in the day, then that is the first foray into having another technician basically.
Hell yeah.
It's through Upwork. It's very like specific work, but it is my first like outsourcing the tech work, which is scary in some respects, but also needs to happen
Yeah.
probably sooner rather than later because I am running out of time in the day to keep up with demand. So
Dude, that's
that's where I
awesome though.
am.
I'm so happy
Yeah.
that you've found a way to make it affordable not only for you but for your clients as well. I think that that's huge.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Because I think too, I'm going to be able to um, undercut the market a little bit here. I don't want to undercut too much because I don't want to appear cheap. Like he's not doing anything real. Everyone else
Yeah.
charges this. But I also don't want to gouge them if like, cool. I need to do a lot of upfront interviews, ask questions, get all the information, and double check work.
Yeah.
So I need to pay paid for that time, but that's not too much time. So
Yeah.
especially once it's like auto, once we get everything set up and it's just auto, it's like cool. Just double check things every month.
Yeah. Dude, I'm stoked for you.
So
I
yeah,
feel like that's
yeah,
a great source of income that you don't have to work too hard on, you know?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And repeating revenue is
Exactly.
is great for the stability. So man, that's like a whole thing in my service based business. That and I had a just real quickly, I had a conversation with someone else that I know who is another service based business, and he in the time that I've known him, he's gone from having like a half-time assistant to having two full-time employees and two part-time employees, and doing a lot of managing and scheduling, and they're doing the quote unquote technician work for that
Dude, from
company. So
BNI. Yeah. Like
yeah,
from a
yeah,
networking group, guys.
from a networking group.
Networking group.
Yeah, just like we talked about on Wednesday. Um, so that was kind of inspiring to see how he broke things down and started, and see the that it's not so scary on hiring people. I mean, it's always scary, but it's also not as scary as they build it up to be. So,
Yeah.
when this pandemic is somewhat managed, at least to a point where I don't mind bringing a stranger into my shop and working next to said stranger all the time,
Yeah.
um, then maybe I'll have the income, I'll have the mindset, I'll have the plan, and I'll be ready to hire. So that'll be sweet.
A stranger is only a stranger for a little bit of time, Josh. Eventually they'll become a friend.
That's right. But right now they're a stranger, and I don't know
Stranger
if they've
danger
got the
heard.
vid or not. But hey, little quick update. I just got my second shot. So
Hey.
two weeks from Wednesday of this week, I will be fully vaccinated.
So you can come to
So I'll
Germany. Fuck
feel
yeah.
I'll feel a lot more comfortable. Yeah, yeah. Time for a trip to Germany.
I don't think they're allowing Americans in yet.
Hang out with my locked down, unvaccinated friend.
Hey.
One day, Chow, we're gonna get on Instagram Live on Stuckers, and you're gonna be like, "Wait, you guys are in the same room?"
One day.
Surprise! All right, goals. What you got for this week?
Heard. Okay. So I'm going to review videos, the screen recordings that I did of my market research videos, and then compile notes. I'm also going to schedule myself a CEO day so I can plan out Q2 and a webinar for April. Potentially also doing a webinar as well as a clubhouse room simultaneously. That's something I need to think on a little bit, but that's kind of cool. I need to figure out how the fuck to download IGTV videos to be repurposed. Stay tuned. I also have to do a Canva story for someone that I'm going live with. And by March 23rd, I have to have a blog pitch for the online magazine called Erica Magazine. And they're super excited to have my work. I'm unclear if it's paid or not, hopefully, but we shall see. So I'm very excited about doing the things. What about you, Josh?
Nice. My big push is to figure out this SEO thing, see if it's gonna work for me. Um, and to do that, I'm gonna have to redesign that one website very quickly. Hopefully by Monday at the latest. And if that goes well, I'll be able to assign somebody SEO, at least optimization on the on-site side by the next time we talk. So that's a big goal, which
Is the
should be
website,
doable.
you designing the website, part of that goal? Just so I'm clear.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So I
Go
need to
ahead.
design it probably by Monday so that I have time to hire somebody to do the SEO
Got it.
part and have them actively working on that by the time we talk, or maybe even done. That'd be sweet. Um, and then uh, on on the music side of things, I don't know what my goal is. I think I have two songs that I'm in the middle of with co-writers that have one of which I talked about already, and then another one in a similar holding pattern. I would like to get them both moving, and need to, because there's a couple of things, especially after Saturday's meeting, but on that song and then on another song, there's a few things that are just waiting on me, like record a bass line and do this and do that. So I just need to get my part of it done to volley the ball back to my co-writers.
Okay. Yeah,
and
I feel
that's
like that's a legit goal.
yeah, and it's if I don't, like, there's no real deadline on it, they'll just wait forever. But if I don't, then we just won't move forward. So
Artists, man.
I need to volley the ball back on the music. That's what I need to do on on two songs.
Okay, that's fair. So play volleyball in a creative space. That's what I heard.
Yeah,
Got it.
volleyball of music. I'll know what that means later. By the way, I love that you said you're going to assign yourself a CEO day. That is great. I hope everyone heard that. Something you need to do from time to time.
We should talk about that. Let's fucking do it.
Yeah.
Let's fucking do it.
We're going to make that an upcoming episode of the Unstuck Institute podcast. All right, guys. Well, that's it. That's Friday. It's been casual. I've been Josh. That's been Cel. And if you got a question for Casual Friday, email us at unstuck.institute@gmail.com or hit us up on Instagram at unstuck.institute. And if you haven't already, download our free PDF life book to keep the ball rolling on your own productivity. You can get your life book today at unstuck.institute/lifebook, and that's like really free, not like enter your credit card free, but like free. All right, cool. See you guys next week. Be excellent to each other and have a great weekend. Bye, y'all.
Ciao. Tschüss. All of the words. Bye.